All right, well, I'm back. I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to keep going with this. So I drew in some more with my Micron. So if you watched part 1, we did the leaves. Part 2, we colored in this. Now I added in a few more drawings with my Microns. And I just thought, what the heck, let's just keep going. Maybe somebody actually likes watching this. So what I did here, if you remember on the leaves, I had a bleed. So I actually covered some of the bleed with some like hashing, just some, just kind of scribble in a little bit. So here we have one bleed, so I thought I would address that. I've got my colorless blender. I'm just gonna go over that. And then I wipe my blender off on a paper towel. And I'm just trying to see if I can't pull some of that out. And it's supposed to pull, but I don't see that it seems to be working very well. So I almost wonder if my colorless blender maybe has gotten dry. It doesn't feel dry. And a lot of that does depend on the paper. So it's not the end of the world. This is just for me. I think it did lighten it a bit. So anyway, I am going to start this next flower. I've got an RV02. I'm going to leave, for now, I'm going to leave that where that spot is and see if it just kind of lightens a little bit more. So I've been thinking about making YouTube videos for a very long time, and I just finally decided it was time to do it. And I don't know if anybody will watch these, but I think that I learn something when I do them, and it gives me a fun excuse to work with some of the things that I have around my studio that I don't work with often. If you're familiar with me at all, I'm actually an acrylic painter. That's kind of my main media of art, but I love anything art, really, and I play with a lot of different things because I get bored. I'm an artist, I think, in every sense of the word, meaning I'm random. You probably can tell that from my videos that I'm random because I kind of babble on and don't often make sense, probably. I don't like to stick with anything too long. Oops, I grabbed the wrong end. Now, something about Copics. There's a dark line here. There's no line here. It's just the crease. Here's a dark line. The dark line is always on your brush tip. And there is a little indicator here, brush tip, chisel tip. So if you pay attention, that dark line, you don't really have to guess too much at what's what. So something that I sometimes run into with this system of coloring, this RV06, while it is a difference in color than my RV04, I don't see that it really layered. And sometimes that happens. So I'm actually just going out to my lightest one. This is not what I told you in the last two, but I'm actually going to do this edge because the other one didn't seem to make much difference. So don't think you're going to really notice. So I'm actually just going to do this edge here. And then I'm just going to do a second layer, I think, of my middle tone, which was the RV04, around middle. And I mean, it's enough. And then you could possibly pull some of this color off. This blender, just for whatever reason, does not seem to be I don't know, I might need to refill this, which I've never done that. I know that you can, and I have some of the fluid, but I haven't actually used it yet. So maybe I'll learn something new. Alright, so I need to decide what I want to do with that middle. And I'm actually just going to go in with my Micron. And this is the 08. And I'm just going to do some cross hatches. Yeah. Just like that. And I mean, I can see that I have a little bleeding in here. But depending on what I end up doing with this, you may or may not really even notice that. Just kind of shading over it. So I've come to the conclusion that about 5 to 6 minutes color in one little flower. So there you have it. That's that. I'm going to keep going. If anybody's enjoying this, they're just going to probably keep watching. So I'm just going to start coloring this one. I'm using the same colors that I used on the other leaves. But I think I'm going to try to shade it a little different. I think on this one, I'm going to shade it like I did on the flowers, where the middle is going to look darker, so like the leaves are curled is the look I'm going to go for. So I'm just going to kind of go right along my medium tone green. It's going to go right in the middle there. And that'll give that effect of like the leaves are curled up, or curled, you know, upward, like the center is deeper, if that makes sense. Sometimes I don't know if people understand what the heck I'm talking about. I'm even gonna go kind of follow those lines a little bit. I think that's kind of fun. Back to the middle tone. Blend out the edge. And back to the lightest color. Yeah. So, in case you're wondering, the paper I am using here is this watercolor paper made by the B Paper Company. It's 100% cotton paper for watercolor. Found it at Michael's. Copic markers you can get several places. You can get them online. You can get them at Michael's. You can get them at Hobby Lobby. I find that they're the best deal if you buy them at Blick, but you have to buy several at one time. So I've just been slowly adding to my collection. And so what could I do with this? Well, it seems a little top heavy with the leaves, so I might want to add some more leaves. But, you know, you could certainly fold this. And that could be a card. I don't have my paper creaser handy, do I? Oh, I do. This is a paper creaser. One thing I should mention about Copics that I didn't mention earlier, and this is, they do bleed. especially when you're coloring. And you know, the backside sometimes looks super cool. It looks like watercolor. Especially in watercolor paper. This would be a cute card, wouldn't it? I'd like to get that from somebody. So maybe we need another leaf here. And do we need another leaf or another flower? I don't know. Maybe neither. I like to do these little curlicue things. You know, drawing for me is therapeutic, and so is coloring. I just want to have a nice Zen moment. It still needs something, but I haven't decided what. Let's go with, yes, another leaf. I'll show you the end result. We'll do that in another video. Thanks for watching.